Okay, so what we're gonna do first, make sure your information's up here, your name, Mrs. Lakey and I's names. This is period 2. And today is 11/18/21. Okay, this is not much different than what you've been doing, but it just kind of adds one little step ahead of time, okay? And that is that you are going to need to distribute before you solve. So let's go ahead and do that. Do you guys remember how to distribute from the last unit? So we're going to be multiplying everything inside the parentheses times 4. Okay? So it's going to be 4 times 2x, which is 8x, and then 4 times 9 is 36. And just like that, you have it in the nice form that you guys are used to solving. Okay? Now I want to show you, because some people it might be easier for you if you split that up a little bit. So let me show you on the board here. If you have 4 times 2x plus 9, you can also write it like this. 4 times 2x plus 4 times 9, and then you can multiply each of those. So if you like having this little extra step in there, not doing everything in your head immediately, go for it. So this will be 8x plus 36, which is the same thing we have here, but I just did a lot of that in my head. And if for you want to write it down with this extra step and then do all the operations, that's totally fine, okay? You got to know what works best for you. Now I'm going to do my balance line. And this part is with my variable. I'm going to ignore that for a minute. I'm adding 36. The opposite of adding 36 is subtracting 36. So I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides. Let me do this in a different color. So I'm going to subtract 36 from this side. And what I do to this side, I also have to do to this side. Now this part is gone. 36 minus 36 is 0. So this we can just X this out. And all that we're left with here is the 8x. So I'm going to bring that 8x down. And then I'm going to subtract here. This is going to be 32. Okay, now I'm going to look back at my variable here. It's being multiplied by 8. What's the opposite of multiplying by 8? Dividing. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. 8 divided by 8 is 0. So I'm just left with x. And what's 32 divided by 8? 4. 4. Okay. Now, like we've done before, I'm not going to assume that 4 is correct until I've checked it. So I'm going to write out the whole equation except for where x was. I'm going to put 4. And I'm going to put 4 in parentheses just so that I can remember that that is multiplication and this should be multiplication. And now I'm going to simplify it. And we want to use order of operations here. So there's grouping, and inside the grouping there's multiplication and addition. So I'm going to multiply first. Then I'm going to add. And then I'm going to multiply again. And you might not know what 17 times 4 is off the top of your head, so I'm going to multiply it over here in the margin. Yeah, that is equal to 68. So 68 is equal to 68. So we know for sure that x equals 4 is the correct answer. So really all that is changing here is that you distribute first and then you solve it. So let's look at the next example. Ashlyn. You mean right here? You can distribute if you want. You can do 4 times 8 and 4 times 9 if you want. You'll still get the same answer. Okay, let's look at a problem that's formatted a little bit differently. Do you see how you're dividing by -3 here? Okay, so for this problem, we are distributing 2, but it's a different type of distributing. We're going to be distributing the -3 to the m and the -5. So m divided by -3 looks like this. And then -5 divided by -3 is going to be +5/3. Oh, that problem is a lot messier than I realized. Hold on a second. Let me fix this. This is going to be a doozy. So let me just fix this and make this 6 for you guys. Can you change it on yours too? It's a doozy. And I don't want to throw you guys a hard one like that quite yet. So change your problem so that it's 2 is equal to m minus 6 divided by -3. Did everyone change that on their notes? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so now I've distributed -3 to the m, and I have to distribute it to the -6 as well. You can do one of two things. I'll show you on the board. You can either do this, and then minus 6 divided by -3, okay, which is going to be m divided by -3 minus -2. Or you can quickly, in your head, without all that jargon, say -2 divided by -3 is +2. Did everybody follow that? -6 divided by -2, or -3, sorry, -6 divided by -3 is a +2. If you look at this, this is -6 divided by -3. And it's a +2. So the math that you're doing there is -6 divided by -3. Okay, just so you can see it off to the side. That's what the math was that we just did there. All right, next, now we can solve it using our 2-step strategies. We're going to do the balance line here. I'm going to cover up the part that has the variable in it, and we're adding 2. What's the opposite of adding 2? Subtracting 2. So this is 0. 0 is equal to m divided by -3. Okay. Now there's only one operation happening to m now. You're dividing by -3. What's the inverse operation? Multiplying by -3. I'm going to rewrite this down here because we ran out of space and I want to make sure that we're good. Okay, so we're going to multiply by -3 to both sides. Well, -3 divided by -3 is just 1, so that cancels out. And you're left with m is equal to, what's -3 times 0? 0. 0. Okay. Now let's go through and check our answer. We're going to plug in 0 for m. So this is going to be 2 is equal to 0 minus 6 divided by -3. So now I'm going to follow the order of operations. I'm going to simplify the top first. 0 minus 6 is -6. Now I'm going to divide. -6 divided by -3 is a +2. So since both sides are the same, we can say, yeah, m is equal to 0. So basically, the first thing you're always going to be doing is distributing. Whether it's distributing like this or distributing by your dividing. Okay? So let's zoom out for just a second so we can put our steps in. So step 1 is going to be to distribute first. Then use inverse operations to find the value of the variable, and then we check the answer. Every time we check the answer. Always, always. Okay, let's do 2 of these together, and then I'll have you try 2 of these. So first, let's look at number 1. I'm going to distribute first. So I'm going to distribute the 6 to the x and to the -5. So that's going to become, so 6 times x is 6x. 6 times -5 is -30. And now I have a 2-step equation that I'm familiar with, and all I need to do is use inverse operations to solve it. So I'm going to cover up the part that has the variable. The opposite of subtracting 30 is what? Adding. You are so good. Okay. Well, this cancels out, right? -30 plus 30, that's a goner now. And all we're left with is 6x over here. You can even circle it if you like so that you know that's what's left and that's what you're going to bring down. And then 18 plus 30 is 48. Now if I look back at my variable again, I can see that it's being multiplied by 6. What is the opposite of multiplying by 6? Dividing. So I'm going to divide by 6 here, divide by 6 here. Well, 6 divided by 6 is just 1, so I'm left with x. And what is 48 divided by 6? I heard it. 8. 8. Now, we never want to assume for sure that 8 is true until we've checked our answer. So I'm going to substitute 8 back in here. And now what I want to do is I want to simplify and see if this side is equal to 18. So I'm going to do my grouping first. So this is 3. And what is 6 times 3? 18. And we know that 18 is equal to 18. So we have confirmed that 8 is the correct answer for that. And again, we're going to change problem 2 and 4. I don't know what I was thinking this morning. So let's go ahead and make this an 8. And then on number 4 below it here, we're going to make that 4. Okay, there we go. That's much better. All right, so I'm going to start with my balance line. And I'm going to distribute. So it's going to be m divided by 4 minus 8 divided by 4. What's 8 divided by 4? 2. It's 2. Okay? Now we have the 2-step equation that we know how to solve. So really, the only thing that's changed is you start by distributing, and then you solve your 2-step equation. So I'm going to cover up the part that has the variable. You're subtracting 2, and the opposite of subtracting 2 is what? Adding 2. So I'm going to do it here. And what I do to one side, I always have to do to the other. And -2 plus 2, that's going to cancel out. So I'm going to put an x through that, and I'm going to circle my m divided by 4, because I have to bring that down. So m divided by 4 now is equal to 5. What's the opposite of dividing by 4? Yeah, so I have to do it here, and I have to do it here. Yeah, Chelsea. Where did I get what? I had to change the problem because it was, I made an error when I was writing the problems down. Okay. Now 4 divided by 4, that just cancels out, and I'm left with m over here now. And 5 times 4 is 20. Now I never assume for sure that 20 is correct until I plug it in and try it. So I'm going to do 20 instead of m, so this is going to be 20 minus 8 all divided by 4 is equal to 3. Now I'm going to use order of operations here. So 20 minus 8 is 12. 12 divided by 4 is what? 3. And we know that 3 is equal to 3, so yeah, that is the correct answer. Chelsea, make sure you've also changed number 4, because I changed that to 4 right there. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys now try 3 and 4 on your own. Miss Lakey and I are going to walk around and help you guys. How are you guys doing on these problems?
We don't have a variable on this side, so this one's already good at 8. And now we have so right now we're going to ignore that. How do I make this a 0? How do I make it a 0? So I've got that. Oh, 4's hard. I'll take this since I need to add. So it's like the last name that
is 1, and then a positive divided by Yes, ma'am. It doesn't matter, but you're looking for a score of 3 out of 6 instead of 6 out of 6. Okay, hold on just a second. We do need to go over these as a class, and then we'll take a look at your iReady lessons, and I'll give you some time to work on those 3 homework problems, okay? All right, first one. We're going to distribute. So -3 times 2x is -6x. Then -3 times -4 is going to be a positive 12. It's okay if you want to write it as -6x minus -12 first and then switch it if that's easier for you, okay? And then we have 18. Then we're going to do inverse operations. I cover up the part that has the variable. The opposite of adding 12 is subtracting 12. Bless you. Okay, so you're left with 6 over here. This cancels out, and you have -6x over here. Now, there's only one operation left happening to your x. So what's the opposite of multiplying by negative 6? Yeah, dividing, okay? All right, so now all we're left with over here is x. And what is 6 divided by negative 6?
0.
Negative 1. Negative 1. Now let's check our answer. So I'm going to plug in, instead of x, I'm going to put negative 1. And I put it in parentheses to show that it's multiplication. Now, negative 6 times negative 1 is a positive 6. 6 plus 12 is 18. X is equal to negative 1. That is true. True, true. Okay, next one. I'm going to distribute my negative 2. So this is going to be x divided by negative 2. 4 divided by negative 2 is going to be negative 2. Okay, everybody catch that? 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Now, I can cover up the part that has the variable, and I can say, okay, well, the opposite of subtracting 2 is adding 2. So I'm going to add 2 here, and I'm going to add 2 here. Now, this is going to cancel out. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. And I'll be left with x over negative 2. And this is negative 1. And then I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 2. This is going to cancel out. And I get 2 is x. Now again, I'm going to plug it back in. So I'm going to put 2 in for x. So negative 3 is equal to 2 plus 4 over negative 2. So this is 6 divided by negative 2. Negative 3 is equal to negative 3. And we're good. We're good. Yeah, Chelsea. Number 4. Okay, let me turn over my page to take a look at number 4. Was it the answer checker?
Yeah.
And the answer checker doesn't say that? Chelsea, what did you get?
I did get 0.
Did you plug in 0 into the answer checker?
Yeah, I just did. I haven't completed it yet. I was just wondering why it was 0.
Why it was 0?
Or it's 1 or it's supposed to be 0.
Well, if you plug 0 back in and it works, then you know it's correct. You know it's correct. Okay, so Chelsea, you're right. It's okay to get an answer that's 0. I know it seems a little odd because you feel like it has to be like a number, not 0. Well, 0 is a number, but you're absolutely right. Okay. Number 5, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to distribute first, right? So 14 minus 6b is equal to 20. I can see why this one is hard for you already. Okay, I'm going to cover up the part that has the variable. How do we get rid of 14? How do we get rid of 14? Oh, all right, we'll reconvene tomorrow. I owe Candy for that quiz and all kinds of stuff.